Hey guys, welcome back to another video, the first video of 2015, and today I've got here the MX3 which features the Amlogic S802. I still have it connected to my left monitor. I've been doing some tests while I've been editing the video, especially because this box here made me some doubts, especially on the benchmarks, not connecting the dots with the real world performance. So that made me a few questions here, and to be honest and try to share them with you, I did have to run a few more tests, especially on the gaming side of things, which were a bit more complicated, but that I will leave for the conclusion of the video. So meanwhile, enjoy the review, hope you like it, and at the end I will make a conclusion that hopefully will help you to decide if this is a device for you or not. Stay tuned, guys. Taking a look at the box, we see that it got a bit banged up on the mail, but fortunately everything came home right. But as you can see, it took a little bit on the right side, which, well, it's the case itself, so that's what it's meant for. On one side of the box we will have some general information about the device, while on the other side we will have the Android version and as well some general specification on the CPU and the GPU. Regarding the unboxing, once we open the case, we will find the main unit on top, involved by this protective plastic bag, if I can call it that. And as you can see, the main unit right there with the logo on top. We will find also on the top the IR remote control that we will take a look later on. Taking a closer look at the accessories inside the case, we will find a UK adapter, so it will be useful if you find yourself living in UK. And of course we will have the power adapter, which I will be using without any adapter. I live in Portugal, so we use this socket. And we will also find a AV or RCA output, which will be useful if you have an older TV without any HDMI output, in this case input on the TV. We will have, of course, the HDMI cable, which I have a few, but always happy to receive one more. We will also find the OTG cable connection. And finally, we will have the user manual that you can, of course, read for a few minutes to see how the device works. The IR remote, in my personal opinion, and bear in mind, it's just my personal opinion, it has a lot of buttons. I prefer much simpler remotes with a lot less buttons than this. But hey, this is just my opinion. Now, regarding the feeling and touch, it feels nice. It feels a good rubber and a nice plastic on the remote. And the range when I tested it out was good, which we will see later on in the video. Just a side note, no batteries included, so get your own before you order this device. Taking a closer look at the front of the unit, we will find a great feature, which is the absence of lights. I love this feature on any unit, so I can place this on a bedroom and we will not be bothered by the lights flashing, or if you forget to turn off the device. So the light that you will see is on top of the unit, which will not bother you if you are using this on your bedroom, as I said before. So you will have that short red light when you press the button, then turns blue when it's on. If you turn it off again, it will turn red. On the left hand side, we will see no ports at all, just that glossy plastic that goes around all the unit itself. On the right side, we will see a micro SD slot, a OTG input and 2 USB inputs. At the back we will find the rest of the connections, starting with the power jack, AV output or RCA, Ethernet, HDMI and optical audio output. At the bottom we will find a elevated center with 4 corners for the cooling system. Now, no rubber fits on this device, so be aware of the surface that you will put it on top. Once we turn the units on, we will have this default launcher, but being an Android device, you can just go to the Google Play Store and get your own launcher. Now, XBMC was pre-installed, but all the other apps that you see there, I did install to test the unit. So if you want them, you just go to the Google App Store and get them. Taking a look at the basic configurations or settings, I went ahead and turned off the HDMI auto detection just to see which resolutions I could get. And surprisingly, although this device says that it can output the 4K, it does not show the 4K option. Now, I did try 4K further ahead on the video, 4K playback video, it played fine, but I'm still curious why there's no output for 4K on this device. Getting a little bit back to the remote control included, although I said it has a lot of buttons and we will see some of the use for those buttons, the range of this remote, unlike a few remotes that I've tried in the past, you can point the remote almost anywhere and it will make the signal go to the device. Even you point to the ceiling, as I tried every direction, and to be honest, I did like the remote being able to drive the signal, although it wasn't pointing directly to the device itself. And as you can see, I'm even turning the remote the other way around and it still works. So all in all, the remote control works great. Regarding some of the key functions of the remote, the red will take you to the local storage, while the green will take you to your music library if you have one. As you can see, I don't have any music library there. And the yellow one will take you to your browser. Now the blue one says apps, but the test that I made, it doesn't take me anywhere. So all in all, there's some shortcuts. For me, I don't see the use of that, but some of you might find it useful, so it's just a matter of personal taste. Going through some benchmarks and starting with the speed tests on the internet side of things, connected through Wi-Fi, which is what we are seeing at the moment, roughly 10 meters away from my router, you can get about 5 megabytes download, and about 2 megabytes upload, which I was not very impressed. I did test it a few more times, but the results were the same. So if you are pondering to put this device about 10 meters away from your router, expect to get somewhere around these values. Connecting the device to my power line connection, I could get about 34-35 megabytes download and roughly 20 megabytes upload, which by the way, it's the maximum of my ESP. Now bear in mind that power line will decrease a little bit, so if you put this directly connected to your router or modem, you will get higher speeds. So these speeds you will be able to drive any kind of media streaming and you will have no hiccups at all, everything will play fine. Regarding Geekbench 3, we got a single score of 509 and a multi-core score of 1290, which actually is not bad for these kinds of devices. Now here you can compare with some other devices, but if you want to take a closer look, just go to Geekbench 3 browser and check around the values so you can compare it to other devices. Now on Antuntu benchmark, we got a somewhat wacky result. As you may recall, 2 weeks ago I reviewed the unit that had the Amlogic 812 and the one that we are seeing here as the 802. So at least they should be somewhere equal values, and this one here is showing a unverified result of almost 40,000. Now I had everything alright, so I don't know how this unverified result came from. I'm not doubting from the manufacturer, but at the moment what I'm doing is having some more real world tests, and at the conclusion of the video, by then I will have, hopefully I will have that sorted out and I will give you some explanation. And this because when I was playing games, which we will see in a little bit, I saw some small glitches which didn't happen with the Amlogic 812. So this is somewhere a bit confusion yet. Hopefully at the end of the video on my conclusion I will have an answer for this. Now starting with the games, Cars, which is one of my kids' favorite, I would like to show and share one of the glitches which you can see right about now. The frame just stopped, and this was not the only one. I did experience this, not much, but from time to time we would get some of these glitches. Now I'm trying another 2 games. One of them is Asphalt 8, just finished installed. I will have to try it out, which is a more demanding games. I will try that against the 812 and the 802 Amlogic. So by the end of this video review, on my conclusion, I hopefully will have an answer to me and that I will be able to share with you. Also tried the game Despicable Me, and no surprises here, just played fine, smooth, no glitches whatsoever. Everything was really nice as expected for this CPU and this GPU. Also tried Buggy, and this one exactly the same, no glitches, played fine. I did try a few times just to, well, probably to game, but to have the excuse to play a game, but the experience was really great, which I was expecting for this CPU and GPU. And we have reached my favorite part of these kind of videos as usual, just because this is what I use these devices for. Mainly for this, not only, but mainly for this, for video playback and media streaming in general. And what we are seeing on the screen right now is the XBMC version pre-installed on this device. Nothing to be installed, just plug in, set up XBMC, and you are ready to go. And as you can see, on 180p resolution, just plays fine, no glitches, no problems whatsoever, coming from my NAS or network drive attached storage, and just playing fine. You can fast forward the times that you want and it will not glitch. Now, just tried, besides the 180p, also tried 4K, although we saw before it doesn't have a 4K resolution, but I have no way of testing that out just because I don't have a 4K TV. Nonetheless, I did try a 4K footage from the Lumix GH4 and it plays just as nice. As you can see on screen, everything is smooth, and even when we do the fast forward as we did with the 180p resolution footage, 4K just goes very smoothly, no problems whatsoever, as you can see on screen. I also installed Kodi, which is XBMC latest version with a different name, as you may know. And if you don't know, just browse around the web and you will see why it's now named Kodi. And just to say that it worked as fine as XBMC version or oldest version. And one thing that I would like to point out, as you know, my movies, my media is all on my NAS. So this is not just a thing that will play fine on this unit. You will have to make sure that your network connection will work great, because if it's not strong enough, you will not get these results that you are watching on screen. And as you can see, I just fast forward and it will play fine as it was something in a lower resolution. In this case, it's 180p. The same happens with 4K. So bear in mind, it's just not the unit itself, and any unit, not just this one, you will have to get a strong network connection so you will be able to get everything fluid without any glitches. Lastly, I wanted to see how this device is capable of mirroring device, and for that it has the Miracast pre-installed. But in my case, my favorite app to do this function is AirPin Pro, which is a paid app. You can find it on the Google Play Store and you can install it. Once you purchase it, about €4. Once you purchase it, you can install in all the devices that you have. So it's a great purchase, at least in my opinion it is. Starting the tests with my wife's iPad mini, which honestly, this is a feature that we don't use here at home. I found out that there is a bit of delay, but any tablet and any TV box, it doesn't matter the setup that you have, it will always have some kind of the delay. Now, the important thing is that if you want to stream a video, once you start the playback, it will play just fine, no glitches, no problems whatsoever. It just buffers for a while and then plays, and everything is great till the end. So you can just keep on working on your tablet, reading emails, browsing whatsoever, while your other members of the family are watching the TV. I also tested out with my iPhone, which in this case, just so you know, it's a iPhone 4S. I know a bit outdated, but for my communication needs at this moment is more than enough. And as you can see, the browsing experience is exactly the same as with the iPad. A little bit of delay as usual, but once you start playing back a video, in this case from YouTube, it will just play fine while you can keep on working on your phone calls, messaging, apps, or anything that you like. I did test it out and had no problems whatsoever. If you watched my last video on a Android TV box, you know by now that this is one of my favorite applications now, being able to mirror the iMac or any Mac to this Android TV box or any other TV box. But this led me a bit disappointed if I compare it to the last unit that I reviewed. Hopefully you can see on the screen a little bit of lagging on the image. Now the sound was perfect, just the image had some glitches and some artifacts that sometimes made the video look a bit awkward, and to me honestly it was not 100% perfect. And I did try it with 2 live slideshows, 180p resolution, and as you can see on the second slideshow it really lags a little bit. Now once again the sound was perfect, just the image was not. So this for me was a bit of a disappointment, especially when you try a unit 2 weeks back and it played just perfect. This one is just not capable of doing this. Nonetheless, once you drop down the resolution to 720p, this does not happen. So all in all, if you are happy and if you are looking for something like this and able to play in 720, then you will be fine, no worries at all. That wraps up the review of this device, MX3, and I hope that you enjoyed all the details that I could share with you about this device, at least the ones that I found more important, and that is it. Now, regarding this device, is it right for you or not? You'll be the judge of it, but I would like to share with you some of my opinions regarding pros and cons of this machine, comparing of course with another machines. I try to be as much as concisive with every machine. In this case we are talking about mini PCs with Android operating system, but we always end up comparing with other devices that we try. So pros, price, that's one of the pro. This machine at the price point that it is worth it, in my opinion. For what it does, it is worth it. Video playback sorry, it plays 180p and 4K flawlessly. Now 4K, I must say that I was a bit disappointed that I didn't see the output 4K option on the menu as I did with the Minix. That can be that my TV outputs through the HDMI the information of the maximum resolution, but even if it does, why does the Minix is able to recognize that and this one not? The only thing here which I'm not sure is the CPU difference. Maybe that CPU is capable of even recognizing the maximum of a TV 180p. It can scale to 4K and this one doesn't, but if any of you has information about that, share with the community, I would appreciate that. So that was a little of a con for me. Not that I have a 4K TV, so it doesn't matter, but for you guys that probably have, it will matter. Now, another pro is the lights. This device here has the light on top, as you saw on the review, non-intrusive, nothing on the front. So if you place this on a dark room or a bedroom and you don't want to be annoyed by the lights on your eyes, this is a good thing. And this feature, although it's very simple for me, it's very important, and that is it. Now, Ethernet connection, one of the fastest that I've seen so far on the devices that I've tested. Ethernet connection was really fast, as you saw on the review, and compared to other devices that I've tested so far, this is by far the fastest that I've tried. Now, on the cons, Wi-Fi is not the best. Actually, is the worst that I've seen so far. Testing at the same ranges, it got about 3 megabytes or 5 megabytes download and 2 or 3 megabytes upload. So not good at all. Well, not good at all. It's enough for small videos streaming, but for 180p and 4K, forget about it. Wi-Fi will not handle it. Before I forget, another con, which I didn't write here, the feature of mirroring my iMac or my wife's iMac at the back to the TV through this device didn't work that well, as you could see there. I was a bit disappointed with it. I thought it could handle it, but no. Once we lower the resolution of the iMac to 720p, it will play much better. Even with the small glitches, but will play much better. I was disappointed just because the last device that I tried, this one here, did play, which is the Minix, as you saw, did play everything flawlessly. It is the device that I'm using now to display the slideshows there. So this is a con for me as well. iMac mirroring was not that good, and I imagine if you do this with a PC, the result will be the same. PC, Windows PC, you know what I mean. Now, benchmarks didn't go along with the real world experience, and this one let me a bit down, because I did try the Minix, as I said, and the benchmark on Antuntu gave me around 31,000, and on this machine gave me about 40,000, which is a lot on a benchmark like that. Now, Geekbench was okay, the scale was okay, not much difference, but Antuntu gave me a lot of difference. And when I start to realize that the frames per second here were a bit lower than that one, which is a bit superior, I said something's wrong here. And what I did was installed also another benchmark, which is 3D score. I will place on the screen right now the score that I had was a weird score, 6,500 on the MX3, and sometimes I had 800, and then sometimes I had 7,200 on these ranges. And the tests were all made the same way. Reboot the machine, once it started, press 3D Mark and run the benchmark. And I got 3 different results. So, but the result more common was about 6,500. That means that it has the same, or almost the same, a bit superior of graphical capacity than the Minix. Now, when you see these benchmarks, you expect the device will play at least the same on the GPU side of things regarding gaming. So I did try the games, and one of the games that you saw already was the Cars. And the Cars is a simple game, but it has a bit of demanding graphics, but not that special. And as you could see on the video, sometimes it had that freeze. You are running the game and it freezes and then it goes again. Now, it's not a deal breaker not to purchase this machine. It's just a heads up, you might encounter that. Now, I also installed, and let me just remind the name of the games, Asphalt 8 and GT Racing 2, which they are more demanding games. At least Asphalt 8 was about 1.5 gigabytes, and the other one is almost 1 gigabyte of space storage, and of course on GPU is more demanding. And I installed in both machines and tested both machines to see the difference. Now, the Minix, although it has a benchmark lower on Antuntu and 3D Mark, it plays better. It's weird, but it plays better. So no glitches, no freezes whatsoever on that side of gaming, either on Asphalt or GT Racing 2. Now, the MX3, and I will try to play now a part of the racing, where sometimes you get that little freeze, and it's a bit annoying. If you are playing a game and from time to time, they are not very frequent. I didn't time from which glitch to another glitch they happened, but they happen. Now, you are playing and then 5 minutes or 10 minutes later you get another glitch and you get another glitch. Now, this is something very serious or problematic? I imagine not. In my case, it's not. But when you see the benchmarks, and this was my confusion, when you see the benchmarks so high, why the hell, and sorry about the word, but why the hell are we getting real world performance lower than the other device that we saw? So this is something to get in mind. When you see Antuntu benchmarks, I don't want to criticize the 3D Mark or Antuntu. No, I just want to mention that benchmarks are not everything, and this one made me a confusion. So 4K outputs, I think I already mentioned it. We don't have the 4K output option there. And these benchmarks and gaming can be a bit laggy on demanding games. So hopefully you could see that freezes, and that's something to have in mind. Now, do I have an explanation for this? I'm sorry, but I don't. I tried my best to, at least for me, to get a real world explanation. I couldn't convince myself of any, so I will not bother trying to convince you. No. The fact is, and this is a fact, it's not an opinion, the fact is that even though these benchmarks are more higher than the Minix with the Amlogic S812, the general performance of it is lower, as you could see on the video with the same tests and with the extra gaming tests that I made, because I had to take that out of the mind. Now, in conclusion, because the video is getting late, is it worth to buy this device? Yes, if you want to play back some videos in 4K 180p, you will be alright. If you want to play some games, you will be alright. If you don't bother from time to time to have that freeze, it will be alright. Having in mind that this device, at the price point that it is, it's totally worth it. Now, it's just a matter of what do you need these devices for. If it's for that, then go ahead. If you want something more demanding, for me, if it was my main device, I wouldn't go with this one, just because one of the features, which is mirroring my wife's iMac to the living room, doesn't work the way that I want. So, all in all, a great device, a great price point, with a few cons that, well, it's what it is, it's facts, no opinions here. So guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Thumbs up if you did, leave any comments if you like to do so, and that will be it. Thanks for watching. My name is Roberto George, and bye bye. See you on the next one.